Hello and welcome to another edition of Issues of the Moment. One of the key policy thrusts of President Bola Tinubu's administration is the revival of Nigeria's economy and a determined effort to crush the high cost of living, thereby improving the well-being of citizens. Recent data from the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, show a consistent decline in the inflation rate over the past few months, a sign that some of these policy measures are beginning to take effect. A major step in this direction is the recent establishment of the National Credit Guarantee Company, Ncgc, with an initial capital of 100 billion naira. Its core focus is to strengthen micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs, the backbone of Nigeria's economy, and ensure they have access to credit that can fuel production, create jobs and stabilize the economy. Today we explore how Ncgc plans to transform Nigeria's credit landscape and unlock growth opportunities for millions of small businesses. Joining us to discuss this is Mr. Bonaventure OKHAIMO, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the National Credit Guarantee Company. My name is Justin Bemunyana. Welcome you to the program. Once again, I thank you so much for joining us on the program Issues of the Moment. Our focus today is on economic stability with Ncgc in focus. And Ncgc is the National Credit Guarantee Company. And joining us today to discuss this issue is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the National Credit Guarantee Company. He's Bonaventure OKHAIMO. Well, thank you so much for coming on the program, finding our time to come. I really appreciate and welcome you.
Thank you for having me.
Now, economic stability with Ncgc in focus. President Tinubu, recently established the Ncgc, with an initial capital of 100 billion naira.
Right.
Can you tell us what the core mandate of this company is?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. So, like you rightly pointed out, the President, Bola Tinubu, GCFR, set up the National Credit Guarantee Company Limited as one of his initiatives towards ensuring that our economic climate is improved. And our core mandate is to de-risk lending to the underserved sectors of Nigerian economy. And that's the micro, small and medium scale enterprises, local manufacturers, consumer credit. Those are the major underserved sectors that we currently have in our economy. And with the coming on board of the National Credit Guarantee Company, we are going to assist in de-risking lending by our financial institutions to these sectors. And then we provide lending of credit guarantee to aid lending to them of up to 60% in terms of the risk sharing that we are doing. Thank you.
Now, you, from what I understand, you've spent much of your career in the banking sector.
Right.
Now, from your experience, how has the financial sector contributed to, Nigeria's economic growth? And what lessons can be applied to the Ncgc's operations?
Okay, thank you again. Nigerian banking sector has really been resilient, despite the liquidity constraint, foreign exchange issues that have been there. If we go back to statistics, there's a report that the NGX listed banks have been able to raise over 2.04 trillion to meet the recapitalization requirement by the Central Bank of Nigeria. That's a huge achievement. Out of these 10 banks that have been able to do that, 6 of them have actually met the new capitalization required. This shows some improvement and goes to understate the contribution that Nigerian banks have done. Raising that kind of money and bringing it into our economy is going to make put in a lot. If we go back to GDP, as at half year 2025, Nigerian banks have contributed about 2.6 trillion naira to our GDP. That's up by 2.4% from previous quarter, that's at end of Q4 2024. This has also driven a lot of digital banking adoption, despite, like I said earlier, FS losses and then the tight liquidity that we have. This obviously showed that Nigerian banks remain very much resilient, and with the levels of capital they're raising, they will need to do a lot more towards these sectors that we are talking about to ensure that they actually do use their capital very well. And that's the role that Ncgc is going to play.
Now, this discussion here centers around economic stability. And when we talk about economic stability, then we are talking about growth of businesses, not leaving the small businesses aside. They are also inclusive. In fact, they are major stakeholders here. Now, one of the biggest, barriers of these MSMEs, is access to finance, as we all know. Due to, often it's always due to, the high risk perception by lenders. Now, in this case, how will Ncgc, address this challenge, and open up broader credit opportunities for these small businesses?
Okay, thank you so much. Now, let me also put it out there. Our mandate is not just only MSMEs. We also cover local manufacturers and even the consumer credits. The reason why the MSMEs and all these other sectors don't get access to finance is because, like you rightly pointed out, the risk. The banks believe that the MSMEs, for instance, give them a lot of risk. And that's part of what we are here to solve. We are going to share the risk with the commercial bank. Sharing the risk means that, let me put it in a layman's term. If you go to your bank and you ask for a loan of 1 million naira and you don't have security, as long as you're able to meet the risk acceptance criteria of that commercial bank, Ncgc will support by guaranteeing 600,000 naira of that your 1 million naira. So, assuming you don't pay, we pray that you pay anyways, we would pay to the commercial bank the 600,000 naira. So that's a risk sharing framework, that's a risk sharing methodology. This will encourage the commercial bank to lend to you because we have a well-structured agency that has the full faith of the federal government of Nigeria behind it. And that agency is saying that would take 60% of whatever risk that the MSMEs, the local manufacturer, or the consumer credit is bringing to the commercial bank. This will enable the commercial bank to then do more for you, take your loan. And even in most of the cases, would even reduce the interest rates that you should be paying. Because what makes bank determine rates? What determine rates? Interest rates are determined also by the risk, apart from the other economic issues that we face. But risk is also one of the major areas. And if we are sharing that risk, we believe that interest rates should come down for the end borrower.
Now, by this, I believe many Nigerians are out there that may not know the procedures or what goes around about the mechanism that happens around this policy. Can you take our time, 1 or 2 minutes, to enlighten the public out there? What happens? How does an MSME come in and take advantage of this policy?
Okay, great. So first and foremost, what are the kind of guarantee products that we do? We have 2 types right now of guarantee products. We have the individual credit guarantee. The individual credit guarantee is for loan limits of above 15 million naira to 15 billion naira. That individual loan guarantee means an individual MSME, local manufacturer, can go to their bank, meet the credit acceptance criteria of that bank. When they don't have enough collateral, they ask for a credit guarantee support. We'll provide up to 60%, like I said earlier, for that customer to get that loan. The second type of guarantee product that we have is the portfolio loan product. So this is a guarantee that covers homogeneous products. So we have a total group, especially for consumer credit, a group of consumer credits who are being given loans by a bank. So within that bucket, we have about up to 50 million naira. So if you notice, the individual credit guarantee is from 50 million naira and above. But this is now 50 million below. The portfolio for that PFI might be up to 5 billion for that entire portfolio. And that's the part of what we've signed, entered into MOU with the PFIs already. So for each bank, we have given them a portfolio limit of 5 billion for them to then look at individual loans, the smaller buckets that will come into that 5 billion, up to 50 million each. So that's it is. That's the way it works. So if you want a credit guarantee, you can come to us, although we are not advising that, because the regulation allows end borrowers to go to Ncgc and ask for a credit guarantee. But because we know you will require the loan, it's actually better for the end borrowers to go to their banks and meet the risk acceptance criteria of their banks. Okay. And then the bank will then request for a credit guarantee support. Thank you.
Now, this discussion here is still, I still go back to the point of saying it's focused on economic stability. Now, MSMEs, are crucial to poverty reduction and economic development. Now, what specific strategies will Ncgc, be deploying, to strengthen this sector and enable them, to scale?
Okay, thank you. Like you rightly pointed out, MSME is very important to us. They contribute about 48% to GDP. They employ close to 80% of the workforce. And like you know, these are statistics that are available for everybody. Less than 5% of them have access to finance. Despite the MSMEs alone, another important sector is the manufacturers, the local manufacturers. From the COVID period to now, statistics show that we've lost over close to like 2,000 or 2,500 of local manufacturers that have lost, that have not been able to continue with their businesses. That affects job creation. And one of the reasons why they were not able to continue was also access to finance. Okay. Many of them also lack collateral. And that's what we are doing. So our intervention is, we're a credit enhancement agency. The fact that we are coming in to share risk with banks will make the banks more willing to provide financing to these very important sectors. Additionally, what we are going to do is we are providing technical assistance, which is part of our mandate, to enable financial institutions upscale themselves. We're also doing capacity building for end borrowers. So I'm talking about MSMEs, talking about local manufacturers. Because the truth of it is that when somebody gives you money, they want to be sure you will use it very well. So part of our mandate is to collaborate with other agencies, like SMIDAN, for instance, and see how we can improve on the capacity of our entrepreneurs to use loans. And additionally, we have some special, or let me call them key priority sectors that we are very, very much interested in, because we believe that those sectors will also contribute more. With the approval of the central bank, part of the plan is to increase the risk sharing ratio for those sectors. Right now, our rules are we only share 60%, but going to those areas, we are thinking of improving up to 75%, but caveat with the approval of the central bank. So we've not started doing that yet. We are going to look at it, especially for the women and youth-led businesses. We're going to find a way. Businesses that are involved in green financing, that's green economy, some part of the creative industries, we know where the young people are. We have a very huge young population in Nigeria. And whatever we can do to support them, whatever we can do to support the women, we're obviously going to do it. But because we are a regulated agency, we need to ensure that we are sustainable, not just financially, operationally, and everything. We have to follow regulation. And before we do some of those products, we obviously will require the approval of the central bank. And we are in discussion with the central bank. And hopefully all of those products will be put in place very soon.
Now, just quickly, you mentioned the need for support to these MSMEs, and from the government side you've spoken. Now, on a general note, now let's see, what areas do you think the government, like you've rightly mentioned, and of course the private sector, what areas should you think they should come in synergize to support these MSMEs, you know, which areas do you think need urgent attention?
Okay, so since I'm a credit guarantee agency, focus more on access to finance for enterprises. One of the major and critical areas for us will be infrastructural development. You know all of the infrastructure we are referring to. Market, access to market, and all of that. Capacity building, you know. Because when you look at the Nigerian entrepreneur, there are so many things they lack. Even when you are able to raise money from your family and friends, you find it difficult to raise money from the bank. When you've also even raised money from these people plus the bank, you then come up, you have to run your businesses. The infrastructure challenge will increase the cost of your operations. So if you're able to do all that, of course, it would improve. Yeah, thank you.
We can't say all this without talking about exchange rate stability. You know, it's tied to increased production and exports. How does the agency come in, the Ncgc, how does it come in to support MSMEs, you know, to boost exports and, of course, in turn, strengthen the Naira?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. That's also a very great question. Recall earlier I talked about key priority sectors that Ncgc is focusing on. Export is also one of them. And part of our plan is, apart from the technical assistance that we're going to provide, the capacity build we are providing to ensure that access to market and financial knowledge for this sector is improved, we have other incentives, which is part of what I said earlier about trying to look at the risk sharing component of the people that are involved in this, so that you find out that the banks are more willing to provide funding for that sector because they know that most of the risk has been taken by an agency that is backed with the full strength of the federal government of Nigeria. That's one. Some other incentives around, we actually charge a fee for our guarantees. So for some of the key sectors that we are looking at like this, we'll look at how to make some kind of concession that will reduce the cost, the overall cost for taking up those credit guarantees. Thank you. Let me stop at that.
Okay.
So I don't release all my trade secrets.
Yes, I understand. I understand. As we all know, you know, partnerships are vital to success. Is Ncgc, is it collaborating with other agencies or other government agencies or development financial institutions or, let's say, private sector, you know, to maximize its impact?
Yes, truly, we are collaborating with a lot. Part of our key focus area is how to collaborate.
Okay.
And before we were set up, we had some international development finance institutions that worked with the presidential committee that was set up by the president, BONAVENTURE, GCFR, to establish Ncgc. One of those international DFI was even the World Bank. They worked with us. They prepared the initial business plan that we are starting to work with. We're also looking at collaborating with other credit guarantee agencies, companies rather, in Nigeria, because we realize that they've been at it before us. We also need support on how to share the risk, our own risk. We are sharing the risk with the PFIs, but we want to find a way to share our own risk. So we are thinking about collaborating with other agencies within and outside the country that would also improve on what we are doing and our mandate. So we are open to collaborate. At the stakeholder forum we had when we launched Ncgc, we had a lot of market leaders, both NASME, chambers of commerce, all the PFIs, all the agencies. They were all there. Everybody had an input into our plans. And those are the kind of collaborative areas we are looking at. We also have our shareholders that join hands together to set up Ncgc. And our thanks go to them. So they have a major role to play because they've been in business for a long time. I'm talking about stakeholders like the Bank of Industry, MOFI, NSIA, and Consumer Credit Corporation of Nigeria. So all of them alone has provided us with a solid footing to commence our business. Thank you.
Now, just before I let you go, let's talk about reachability or let's say awareness. You know, the majority of Nigerians, as we all know, live in the rural areas as farmers and traders. Now, how does the Ncgc, you know, ensure that its credit guarantees, you know, reach these groups and, of course, in the long run, help them feel the direct impact of government efforts to revive the economy?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for that question. Nigeria, we have, most of us are actually from rural areas. And we want to see how we can develop more of the rural areas so that the urban drift is reduced. Fortunately, the regulation allows us to deal with all financial institutions that are licensed by the Central Bank of Nigeria. And most of them are microfinance banks. The microfinance bank, I'm actually yet to see a location or a locality that doesn't have at least one MFB. So we are going to find a way to upscale the ones that are not at the level. So first and foremost, we would deal with those MFBs, we upscale their own capacity. So they'll be able to see what needs to be seen, let me put it that way. And then we'll support them with our credit guarantees to enable them to do more, reach out. Fortunately, Nigerian banks are also very large and widespread. So even the big ones that we have already signed our MOU with have branches all over. And like as you realize, this present age, technology is the key. So from our website, you can, anywhere you are in the country, you can reach out to us, and then we will in turn reach out to you and collaborate. So we have all those plans. Thank you very much.
Well, Mr. Bonaventure OKHAIMO, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much for having time to give us your insight on these issues. Thank you once again for coming. The Director and Chief Executive Officer of the National Credit Guarantee Company. You're welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. You actually don't know that you have done a lot for me, more than I've done for you, because part of my role is to create awareness. So that, like you rightly said, a lot of people don't know about us. The programs like this enables me to provide that awareness. And we are open for business. You need to find more. Please feel free to reach out to us. My website is open, and then all our phone calls and contacts are there, and we are willing and able to provide.
Can you use this opportunity briefly and maybe say out the website?
Okay, our website is www.ncgc.ng.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can, when you go online, you'll find it.
Okay, thank you so much once again, and I really appreciate your time with us.
Thank you.
Now, economic stability is more than numbers on a chart. It's about ensuring that businesses thrive, jobs are created, and citizens enjoy a better quality of life. With initiatives like the National Credit Guarantee Company, there is renewed hope that access to finance will no longer be a bottleneck for Nigerians, hardworking entrepreneurs. Thank you for joining us on Issues of the Moment, and this is where the program ends. My name is Justin Bemui, and I say bye for now.